Hi everyone, in this video I'd like to talk to you about the learning styles myths. Let's begin by looking at what is true and what is accurate about learning styles theories. Learning styles theories are based on the assumption that everybody is different, every learner is different, and as a result of that, everyone learns differently. Technically speaking, an individual's learning style is based on his or her preference of absorbing information, taking it in, processing it, and understanding it. The learning styles themselves have been created as a result of observation and placed into categories. The first classification had three categories, but as the theory grew more popular, so did the gaps in the theory. As a result, more categories were added to the learning theory to account for the different type of learning styles. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the first classification of learning styles included three categories. That was the visual learner, the auditory learner, and the kinesthetic learner. Later on, the learning style theories adopted a new model, the reading and writing learning style. And there are other models, including one that has 7 styles of learning, which are visual or spatial, oral, which is auditory and musical, verbal or linguistic, physical or kinesthetic, logical or mathematical, social, interpersonal basically, or solitary, which is intrapersonal. But did you know there are other studies that have found as much as 70 different learning styles? With all the discrepancies and adaptations to the learning styles, one must wonder if learning styles are actually a theory or a myth. Is there any evidence that shows that learners do better when taught according to their learning style? Experts in the field like Harold Pashler and Doug Rohrer point out that the evidence is little and even the one that exists is actually very weak. Let us turn our attention now to what is wrong with learning styles theories. First of all, learning styles theories claim that they focus on the individual learning style. But by grouping an individual according to their learning style, we practice conventionality, which is the exact opposite of individuality. Second of all, these learning style theories are still being taught in teacher pre-service programs and are hurting our educational systems. These learning style theories have been comprehensively debunked, and we're going to turn our attention to the work of Harold Pashler and a few others who debunked this myth. If learning styles truly work, then individuals with a preferred learning style should learn whenever exposed to teaching according to that learning style and should not learn whenever exposed to teaching that is not according to their learning styles. However, when experiments were conducted in this fashion, there was no clear evidence and no clear or strong correlation between the learning styles, the preferred learning style of the learner, and their learning outcome, which concludes that learning styles don't really help in learning. If learning theories are just a myth, then what impact does this have on instruction? Does it mean that we do not have any learning styles to worry about? Not necessarily. Let's consider a lesson about sea animals. Suppose you tailor your instructions for the auditory students. Then perhaps you would listen to the sounds that sea animals make. Maybe you want to tailor your lesson to match the kinesthetic learner. In that case, you would go with a class probably to the nearby aquarium. Or if you want to tailor your class for the visual learner, you could just look at slides or videos about sea animals. These are the different styles, and learning theories claim that different students would learn according to their own style. The reality is that every student would benefit from every single one of these practices, whether it be listening to the animals or going to the aquarium or looking at slides or videos. In fact, the more strategies we use and the more learning styles we incorporate in our instruction, the better for every student. The work of Eleanor Gibson also shows that the brain perceives to learn according to all the senses. What this means is that regardless of the preferred learning style of the learner, the brain perceives to learn using all the senses, whether that would be auditory, visual, or kinesthetic. The absurdity of the learning style theories can be seen when taken to the extreme. Let's consider a geometry class that's tailored for the auditory learner. How would anybody learn anything about the volume of a pyramid, let's say, by just talking about it. How would the learner be able to identify what is a slant height and what is the height and what is the apothegm and what is the difference between those particular pieces without visualizing it or without actually doing a problem that involves visual and methodology. This is just one example that shows that learning style theories are at best an incomplete learning theory. Now, somebody might wonder, if learning strategies are just a myth, then how do people really learn? There are many ways that people learn, and some of the strategies that can be used in education for learning are elaborative interrogation, self-explanation, summarization, highlighting and underlining, keyword mnemonic, imagery for text, rereading, practice testing, disrupted practice, and interleaved practice. We know that these practices are shown to work, and there's plenty of research that backs that up. The different strategies that I mentioned do account for the different learning styles, but they do not presuppose that a learning style determines whether the person will learn or not. In closing, I would like to say that the different learning style categories used by the learning style theories are great tools that describe the way people learn, but these learning styles themselves cannot determine whether people will learn or their ability to learn.